Hickok 45 here. Welcome to the Hickok 45 Talks channel. Yes, a serious topic in this one. Yeah, serious topic. Life is short. It really is, isn't it? It's good, but it's very short. And just a reminder, I'm recently lost my favorite old kitty cat, Slamfire, and many of you have, enjoyed seeing him and commented on that, and I appreciate that. But it's a reminder, and unfortunately, I've had lots of those reminders, and many of you have too. You've lost people, family members, pets, friends, and it's always another reminder, isn't it, to really appreciate people while they're here, and quit taking things for granted, or people for granted, or your pets for granted, or anything for granted. Because probably one day you won't be here, and I won't be here either, right? So we take things for granted. We get all wrapped up in the whatever, and we forget about that, and we take for granted that maybe we're pretty healthy. Right now we don't have a problem. You're able to get up and walk around. I can get up and pick up this tripod and chair, put it back in the four-wheeler, and I just got off a hike. I went on a pretty good hike, chopping around with my axe and everything. A lot of people can't do that, and we take it for granted, don't we? And we take it for everything. If we're not careful, we do. Um, I don't. I am not as bad about that as I was when I was young. I have to admit. Once you do start losing family members, you bury your parents or your brother and different things. If you don't already appreciate people that are here and realize they're not going to be here, that'll wake you up, of course, right? Understatement. Uh, but you really do want to savor. We really want to savor every minute that we're healthy and that our family's around, and it's around Thanksgiving right now, and of course that's the time we talk about being thankful, and it's not just an empty phrase, is it? It's a real thing. We want to try our best to savor, really savor the fact that there's Uncle Joe. He might be a little weird, at the Thanksgiving table or whatever, or that he's not going to be here forever, and none of us are going to be here. Or it could be a pet, like Slamfire. And I had the advantage with Slamfire. Since he was an indoor-outdoor cat, and we had a lot of cats dropped off here when we first moved out here in the 80s, and we had 14 of them around. They weren't really ours, but we'd put out some food for them, and someone would come and go, and we had dogs, and so we weren't trying to find cats to be pets. I wasn't as much a cat person then anyway, but a lot of cats around, and they'd just disappear. You'd kind of get halfway attached to one. It was a cool cat, but he'd be gone. John went through that several times growing up, and because we never did get them fixed and keep them as pets necessarily. And so I don't know any of them that were around more than 6 months or a year. And they were outdoor cats. Well, Slamfire, Boo Boo, the other cat, started out as an outdoor cat, and she broke her leg. I've told that story, and then she's an indoor cat now, pretty much, and has been for 11 years. But Slamfire was an outdoor cat from the beginning, and we weren't going to have another cat in the house, and he was a little wilder, so he was just outside. And then we got to letting him in the house some, and noticed he was, even though when he was young, he was a good boy. He didn't jump up on top of the refrigerator or knock things around. He's part Maine Coon, and he would just kind of hang out and get in your lap, and he got up on the mantle one time. I remember walking around all that stuff and without knocking any of it all. I don't know how he did it, but he would do that just occasionally. Mostly he'd just stay on the floor or up on a chair or something. And so we let him in. Got to letting him in the house. We had a really cold winter about 8 or 9 years ago, and felt sorry for him and let him in the basement, and so see how he would do. But so we got into this pattern where gosh, for the last 7, 8 years. He's in and out, and then every evening, late afternoon, or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, he'd show up in the window. That's how he'd let us know he wanted in. He'd jump in the swing and on the front porch in front of the window. But his face would be in the window, and he'd, oh, I want to come in, and mainly wanted to come in to get a treat. We'd give him a treat to go to the basement, but he might go back out, but then he went back in. So he was in and out, and would be in most nights, and then sleep in the basement. Some nights he wouldn't come in if we just wasn't around before we went to bed, but most of the time he would show up and be in the house all night, and then in and out during the day if we were around, which we are. And I was always, it was kind of a shocking experience all those years that he would show up. I was used to these cats that were outside just disappearing, even though we had him fixed and everything. But it was a new experience for me, and I always appreciated that. It crossed my mind weekly, I said, wow, here's Lampard, big guy, come on in, and I think, man, one of these days he's just not going to show up. It's going to be heartbreaking, just like all the other cats, they just disappear for some reason. I don't know where they all go, if the coyotes get them or what, but for all those years, that was his routine. And I was, every time almost, I would think, oh, there he is, good, but I savored it, and I knew just that he was out and around, and I'd see him across the road occasionally, hunting, that, he's going to get hit by a car, something's going to happen to him. So I really did appreciate and savor every day, really, with him. He'd be in my lap, and I'd be petting him. I would just think how lucky I was that he's lasted this long, and I hope he lasts another 5 years. That'd be a miracle. 10 years, whatever it is. Really lucky. He's just such a great cat. He's, he hasn't disappeared on us like all those other cats. So I never took him for granted, But anyway, that's our tendency, isn't it? We just kind of take things for granted, and whenever we lose something, it's another slap in the face reminder that life is short. Anything that's living, that's the nature of it. That rock on the ground is going to be here for a few million years probably, right? But anything that's living that we enjoy, people, animals, just the reason we enjoy them is the same reason they're not going to be here, right? Forever. And same reason we're not going to be here forever. So anyway, I'm not sure what this talks about, except just savor the moment. Because, life is good, but it's darn short. Life is good.